Well, I used to work for INEC, all right? I was one of the first lawyers to start INEC, the office in Abuja. We were just a small team of lawyers at that time when Nwosu was the chairman. And I can tell you something, all right, from my experience. At that time.
Am I on now? Am I on?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So let me finish. At that time, I can tell you that INEC was 101% independent. And that was why we ran into trouble with Ibrahim Babangida. Because when he tried to twist the elections, and you had the June 12th debacle, it was INEC, it was the integrity of INEC at that time that stood against the dictator. And I can tell you something, all right, that nobody in INEC was aware that Babangida was going to pull this rabbit out of his hat. Nobody. We were not aware. But we took our stand, all right, and we insisted that the winner of the June 12th election must be called. You know, that person must be identified. And that was when, and some people might not know this, that was when the military surrounded our headquarters tanks. All right, and Mosu was detained. So, well, I don't know about INEC now, but in those days, under the military, INEC was an independent parastatal of government. And a lot of the stories you hear about INEC, I'm sorry, are not true. Okay, Franklin.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Okay, just to talk about INEC in the current dispensation. I just joined you when you mentioned Humphrey Nwosu. I think I was around during the June 12th. CLO also played a role in advocating that we have the winner of the election, that is Moshood Abiola, announced. And then, of course, we've been among those who organized protests to hold government to ensure that the military government hand over power to the civilian that won the election. Now, of course, so many things played out which you perhaps did not know that led to the June 12 being annulled. There was a group led by Senator Ato Nzeribe, known as Association of Better Nigeria, that went to court to ask that the result be halted halfway. And that gave right. That was the basis that the military government used in order to hash out their plan. They needed a platform. They needed a reason to justify what they did. And so, Aton Zeribe, led a group that went to court to ask that the result be halted halfway, and which was why Professor Humphrey Nwosu was arrested in order not to announce the full result. But the rest is history. Now, the INEC in Nigeria, in the current dispensation, if you look at the process of appointment of the INEC commissioners, the chairman of INEC and the commissioners, you will see that it is the president of Nigeria that nominates and forward the name to the Senate for screening. Then the Senate will now screen and clear him for the appointment. And so, in most cases, you seem to have a conflict of interest and conflict of party, affiliation tied to most of these INEC officials. Let me give you a typical example of what played out. The president came up recently, I think about a few months ago, and appointed Loretta Onoche, a public acclaimed APC member, one who had claimed that she is APC. In fact, the person, she is an appointee of Mr. President. She was sent to the Senate for screening. Nigerians came up and said she is a non-party member of APC. Her party card was even published in the media. CLO came up and do a press statement and said this lady cannot be appointed as INEC commissioner because her allegiance will be tied to the party that she belongs. But the president still went ahead to nominate her and send her to Senate. But as God will have it, due to the pressure that piped from Nigerians, the Senate had to reject her nomination.
Good.
Assuming she was confirmed. Yeah. Assuming she was confirmed by the Senate, she will become INEC commissioner and then she will proceed to a state. Tell me how she will be able to be fair to all parties. So the INEC of today, most times, their actions seem to tilt towards their pointer. So you have that conflict of interest. They are not completely loyal to Nigerians and to our constitution.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Franklin. That was a very good example. If you don't have any more questions for Mr. Franklin, I would like Mr. Franklin to go ahead and give us last words, the closeout words on the actions of CLO in Akwa Ibom State. And we look forward to greater participation in bringing the people closer to their government through pressure groups like yours, Mr. Franklin, especially be an avenue for those people who do not want to get really into politics in Akwa Ibom State.
Okay, I think before I went off connection, I was saying you asked me about the committee that CLO set up in Akwa Ibom to look into some sectors. And I was trying to tell you that what Atta asked me initially at the opening was what is the role of CLO and what we have done and what CLO stands for. And now CLO, as part of our advocacy for good governance, what we do is we hold government accountable, we embark on project inspection, we come out with press statements and also ask government to do what government ought to do. And then where human rights is abused, we are also out there to hold government to do justice, to ensure that the right of those who are abused are restored. Mm-hmm. So CLO is a human rights organization that is a pro-democracy group. And now what we have done in Akwa Ibom is unique. The challenge that we have, I must say this, is every government that comes to Akwa Ibom will tell you we will do road, we will do hospital, we will build skyscraper on air, we will create employment, we will give the youth jobs, we will do everything mentionable. And they will come on board and they will stay 4 years, 8 years as the case may be, and those things are not on ground. And so, as a runoff to 2023 election, or the next government that will take over from the government of Akwa Ibom State, the current government of Udom Emmanuel, CLO has put up a committee that is going to focus on only 3 sectors of our economy. And these sectors are the agriculture sector, the health sector,
yes,
and the sector of education. Yep. Now, if we are able to fix these 3 sectors, I can tell you that the state will be getting better. Not that the state will be near better than what we are today. The question is, have you ever seen any public servant send their children to public schools? Have you ever seen in Akwa Ibom? I have not seen any public servant send their children to public health centers if they have sickness. The COVID-19 that came up in the country exposed so many things that had gone rot in the health sector in the country. Though in Akwa Ibom, the governor tried by coming up to build a few facilities, that could stop the spread, like we call centers for those who have been infected, and then the PCR lab and the rest of it. But the truth is that we need to have a holistic forensic audit of the health sector. We need to also have a forensic analysis of the agri sector. We need to also have a forensic audit of the sector of education, so that we can be able to have these three in a way of a blueprint. Then the CLO is going to organize a debate for all the aspirants those who are aspiring to become the governor of Akwa Ibom State come 2023. And we shall invite you at that. We shall invite Regina Asket, who is a member of the committee, to come down to Akwa Ibom. Let us interface. Let's interrogate these people, and then question them in these three areas. We are concerned about these three sectors only. Give us the agri sector, the health, and our education. That's all. And so at the end of the political debate, we shall hand them over the blueprint that this committee has been able to come out with. Now, yes. Another unique thing about this committee that CLO has put up is that it is chaired by a renowned scholar, a renowned soil scientist in the state, in the country. Professor Richard Ibia is a renowned name in the country in soil science. He is the chairman of the committee. He has been one-time commissioner for agric in Akwa Ibom. The secretary of the committee, his co-chairman, is Dr. Anyekeme Uwa, who had been the state chairman of NMA, Nigeria Medical Association, and currently is the national PRO of Nigeria Medical Association in the country. He is a very vast medical doctor. He's the one that is the co-chairman of the committee. And then we have Barrister Christopher Ekpo, the secretary of CLO. We have Professor Christopher Ekom. He's currently the dean of School of Social Sciences in UNIO. He was one-time commissioner for youth and sports in the state. He's a member of the committee. We have Professor Dels Wilson. He's a renowned scholar, if you've heard of that name before, in Akwa Ibom, in Nigeria. Dels Wilson has been one-time dean of UNIO, one time in several positions in the academic sector. He's a member of the committee. We have Professor Indi Akpabio. He is currently, I think he heads the Agri Extension Department of UNIO, and he's doing very well in the agri sector. We have Professor Etuk Ekanem. He was water commissioner for agric in Akwa Ibom, and he's doing very well in the agri sector. We have Professor Hudwa Okon.
Okay.
And then he has done well. He is also the dean, current dean in the School of Medical Science in UNIO.
Okay.
We have Right Honorable Akademo Edek. We have Pastor Itaudo. We have Mr. Ikechikuju, where we have Pastor Nekan Akban. Let me give you the name so that you can understand. We know you have
we have serious heavy caliber
Askia,
but
who is there. We also have Comrade Nsemeke Udokpan. We have Comrade Barrister Eyibio Okon. We have Comrade Barrister Njoku, God knows. We have Barrister Innocent Idemudia. We have Reverend David Essien. We have Reverend Father Cletus Etam. We have Comrade Iridium Obong. We have Citizen Matthew Okono. We have Asteroid Bassett. We have Mr. Imabong Akwanakpan. We have Miss Imabong Akwanakpan. We have Mr. Vincent Allo. We have Dr. Ekem John. We have Mr. Utit Ofon Jeremiah. And then we have Miss Inkerewem. Now, they have been broken into subcommittees. Their duties include to undertake a diagnostic study of these three sectors, to also recommend to the next government, come 2023, what they have seen, how we can revamp the three sectors, and then make their recommendations. They will also, recommend on how we can make agri sector to work in the state, and how agri can create employment for our teeming youth.
Exactly. That's what I was waiting to hear.
The unfortunate thing in Akwa Ibom is that Akwa Ibom State is seen as civil service state, and everybody is a politician. I overheard your discussion with Regina, as clear as by politics being dirty. Politics is not dirty, but the operators of political parties are the ones who are making the game to look dirty. But the game is not dirty, but those who are playing it are dirty. So because in Akwa Ibom, everybody look up to government. Government is the one that can give you everything. And so when anything goes wrong, government. But if we now allow the agri sector to work, they create employment for our teeming youth. The health sector is working. The sector of education is working. I can tell you that the state will be getting closer to better, economy. So that is what CLO has been able to put up.
Thank you very much. That is solid. I was waiting to hear how these committees can create employment for the teeming youth or the teeming number of young people in Akwa Ibom State, especially in agriculture. In the health sector, there's a number of nurses that we can readily employ and mobilize. And the education sector is almost in tatters in Akwa Ibom, especially if you look at the facilities, the social structures that are up there to house students and, and also investigate the quality of teachers that are present there. Is something that we should definitely overhaul. CLO is getting a lot of applause from our audience. Very well done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, or are we going to move on to...
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Franklin Isong. I think what caught my attention and what got my ears up there was when you talked about political debate. That is one thing we've not had in Akwa Ibom State, a political debate among the aspirants. And I think one of your greatest achievements, if you're able to bring that to the state, will be a debate among the governorship aspirants, because then it will give people the opportunity to listen to them. It will give people the opportunity to obviously move away from the razzmatazz to one or two aspirants out there that actually have the facts, the figures, and the passion and the patriotism to move Akwa Ibom State forward. So thank you very much, Mr. Franklin Isong.
Thank you.
And we're going to invite you again, because I would want to know who you have contacted, because primaries will take place between April and June, and therefore I was hoping that even before the primaries, you guys would be able to put together this debate among the aspirants like they do in the US. You don't wait until the elections. It's actually before the elections, the primaries, that you bring this people together.
We can start working on it. We can all start working on it together.
Yes. We don't want to hold a debate for the aspirants, but the debate will be for the candidate, because aspirants there are pretenders, and there are actual aspirants. There are those who may end up not buying the party form. After the razzmatazz, they will just disappear. And so if you invite them to come to a debate, it's like speaking to the air. But after the primaries, they separate the boys from the men.
Yeah.
The men are the ones that will now become the party's candidates. So we will now invite the party's candidates to this debate. At this point now, it is the course will become clearer as to who are actually standing up for the election.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin. And we are going to keep inviting you, because I would want to hear what impact your team is making and what change you're bringing in Akwa Ibom State. I am still of the position that you have to be a stakeholder politically. But that is a discussion for another day, Mr. Franklin.
All right. So the last time I spoke with Mr. Franklin was, telling us these big projects in Akwa Ibom State. He was talking about the Ibom Deep Sea Port. He was talking about the education. He was talking about, creating employment for the young people. So much so that I was in New York clapping for the governor in Akwa Ibom State. And today I'm going to ask you, frankly, Imam, what happened?
Well, before then, I sent you a letter which CLO has written.
Yes.
I believe you've seen it.
Yes.
Letter that CLO has written, dated 24th February 2022, that the CLO has written to 26 State House members, the 10 Federal House members, and the 3 senators. Before I answer your question of Imam, let me highlight this for the world to also hear. Mm-hmm. Before you hold the governor accountable, the governor also, works with some other arms of government. You have the executive arm of government, where the governor is the chief executive. You have the legislature, and you have the judiciary. But sadly, it is difficult for you to ask the judiciary to give you account of stewardship. But you can only hold the head of judiciary in the state to give account of what he has done in line with the budget that has been released to it. Now, but the more focus is on the elected officers. Mm-hmm. In this case, the governor and the lawmakers. And so what CLO in Akwa Ibom has done is to write a letter and begin to embark on project tracking and project monitoring of all these legislators. Now the letter is read. Let me read it for you to hear. This one that I'm reading was addressed, or is addressed to the member representing Ikodekpene, Esenudim, Obot Akara Federal Constituency, and he is Right Honorable Nsika Ekon. Mm-hmm. CLO letter reads thus: Sir, request for tour of your constituency project / interaction on legislative turnover as part of our good governance advocacy, with a view to holding public office holders accountable to the people and deepening democracy. The Civil Liberties Organization CLO, Akwa Ibom State Branch, and other civil society organizations and members of the press are embarking on a statewide tour of constituency project of the 26 members of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, the 10 members of the Federal House of Reps, and the 3 senators representing the 3 senatorial districts of Akwa Ibom State in the Senate. The purpose of this tour is for the team to interact with the above named legislators with a view to ascertaining their turnover in terms of bills, motions, and constituency projects as they begin the process of winding down their 4-year term in the parliament. The team is desirous of visiting the various constituency project sites in order to have a first-hand information of projects so far facilitated and or executed by the state legislators for their constituencies. At the end of the project tour, the team, led by the CLO, shall organize a press conference to inform Akwa Ibom people and the world of its findings. We are pleased, therefore, to request for your kind approval for these visits to take place on the March Now, this is signed by myself, the chairman of the CLO, and secretary of CLO, Comrade Barrister Christopher Ekpo. Now, this member responded swiftly and took us around his project. He saw the letter, he invited us and took us around his project, and we are still compiling the report of what we saw on ground.
Yes.
And we also spoke with him to know the bills and motions he has moved, and we have that with us. Just on Friday, on Thursday, the CLO led a team to inspect the project of Right Honorable Onofiok Luke, the member representing Etinan, Nsilibom Federal Constituency in the House of Reps. And he took us around his project and showed us what he has done. Onofiok Luke, yes. Showed us what he has done, and then gave us the copies of his motions that he has moved in the House of Reps, the bills he has sponsored in the House of Reps, and other efforts, those he has given empowerment and those he has given scholarship. We have all those records with us, and now we are planning to go to the other members of the House of Reps, as well as the state House members and the senators. At the end of the day, we will address the press and tell the world how far they have performed. And let me tell you this, the high point of this will be for CLO to name and shame all those who have failed to perform in the course of their duties as lawmakers who have represented the state, either in the state level or as senator or as House of Rep members.
Thank you so much. Name and shame. That's the key phrase. People have to be accountable.
Thank you so much, Franklin. Thank you so much. We're going to keep inviting you so that you can give the people of Akwa Ibom State a different perspective. I guess the civil perspective of political engagement within our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
So now we're going to invite Atai Albert. He's waiting in the studio.